Hi everyone, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make two different Lush inspired lip scrubs. Now for those of you unfamiliar, Lush sells these beautiful little lip scrubs that have simple yet effective ingredients, and they're just amazing. They exfoliate your lips, they bring moisture to your lips, and they also prep them for any type of lip balm or aftercare that you want to use. So I thought I would go ahead and try to formulate my own using some of the same ingredients, and I think I've come up with some really good formulations. So in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you my step-by-step visual process and tutorial of how to make these lip scrubs. And if you want the full written recipe plus tutorial, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock them for just one $5 pledge. At the $5 level on my campaign, you have access to recipes and tutorials, and there's a ton to take advantage of right now. So many things that are on there for you to take a look at just at the $5 pledge. So it really caters to a ton of different interests. Candle making, soap making, cold process soap, melt and pour, lotions, creams, cosmetics, lots of stuff. Last month we reached 2,400 patrons, and that's a record high for my campaign. So go check it out if you're interested and go see what everybody's talking about. All right, let's make some lip scrubs. So the first one I'm going to make today is the one that is most like the Lush brand called Honey. Now Lush uses baker's sugar or castor sugar, jojoba oil, honey. They also use some vegan white chocolate, a couple different flavor oils, and a few other things. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my version of the honey type lip scrub. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and weigh out our baker's sugar. Now the reason we're using baker's sugar is because it's fine grain and it's a little less abrasive on the lips. It's a very fine, almost powdery type consistency. You could definitely use regular white granulated sugar here if you wanted to, but this is just a little easier on the delicate skin of the lips. So we're going to go ahead and weigh this off. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour it into my mixing bowl. And then the next thing we're going to do is weigh off the wet ingredients. Now, we are using jojoba oil, and jojoba oil is really good for softening the lips, and it's a really gorgeous, luxurious oil to use. So that's what we're using today. And the jojoba oil is also found in the Lush type. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to be adding to our jojoba oil is some honey. Okay, and we're going to give this a good mix. The very clean spatula, and just get the honey nice and incorporated into that beautiful jojoba oil. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and start combining our liquid ingredients with our sugar. Making sure to scrape out any of that leftover honey. And then we're going to want to make sure we just mix this until it's well combined. And that golden jojoba oil just gives it a really nice honey color. This is a super simple process, by the way, but works amazing. It really is just making sure you get your proportions measured out correctly. And this is the type of texture that I like. Of course, if you like it drier or a little bit more oily, you can add more, or you can take out oil or add more depending on your liking. So I want to go ahead and get this all mixed in. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in our chocolate. Now, Lush uses a vegan chocolate with super simple ingredients. Today, I'm not using a vegan chocolate because it was not readily available. So I'm using a very high-end chocolate that does contain some dairy. And it came in chocolate chip form. And so what I've done is I've just chopped them up into a very fine powder, almost a powdery, very, very fine granules. This gives it a nice, sweet kind of depth of flavor when you're exfoliating. Of course, if you wanted to get the vegan white chocolate, I'm sure you can find that online somewhere, or on Amazon probably, or maybe your local grocery store. But this is by nature not a vegan product anyway because we're using honey. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sprinkle in the white chocolate and then give that another good mix. Nice and well combined until that chocolate is evenly distributed. Okay, lovely. So the last thing we're going to do on this is go ahead and place in our flavor oil. Now, Lush uses, I don't have it written down right in front of me, so forgive me if I don't get it completely right, but they use some peppermint oil, I think some orange, and some vanilla. Well, I happen to have vanilla mint, so I'm going to be using the vanilla mint flavor oil to flavor this. And of course, this is totally optional. If you have peppermint oil and you just want to put a few drops of peppermint in there, you could absolutely do that. If you don't have any type of flavor oil, of course, you can just leave it out. It's totally a personal preference. All right, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give that a good mix. Then I'm gonna set that aside to go ahead and do the next one. But we're gonna make sure and get the flavor oil all mixed in. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and then we're going to get ready to make batch number 2. Okay, so the second one we're going to make is actually not a Lush inspired one, but once I got my base recipe down on the one that I just showed you, I started coming up with other ideas and things and tweaks you could make to it. So this one is really just my own creation. So what we're going to do is weigh out the sugar first. Again, we're using baker's sugar. Want to make sure I have enough weight out here. Okay, perfect. I'm going to transfer that to this next mixing bowl here. And then my next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and weigh out the liquid ingredients just like we did on the last one. Instead of jojoba oil this time, we are going to be using sunflower oil, which has a lot of the same properties as jojoba oil, except it's a much less expensive of an oil and it has great emollient, conditioning, and skin softening properties. So we're going to go ahead and weigh this out. And then we're going to give it a good stir to combine. Just getting that honey nice and incorporated. Of course, you could put this directly on your scale and just weigh everything into it, but I think my scale is more accurate when it doesn't have these big, thick-walled bowls sitting on it, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So again, we're going to want to go ahead and get all that in there. And then we want to give it a good mix to combine. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in some lemon powder. Now the lemon powder is going to also help to gently exfoliate the lips. And this one I am going to weigh out, but I may not use everything that I weigh out. This is kind of a, I'll weigh it just so I have an amount for you. I'll measure it after I'm done pouring. So I know the maximum that I want to use, but I'm not sure I'm going to use the maximum. It's kind of by sight. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start slowly sprinkling my lemon powder in. I may not use everything that I've measured out, so I will weigh the end result, but this is going to give it some color, and it's also going to add a little bit of very fine exfoliation. Now, the only thing is I don't want to get it too dark, so I'm just kind of going by the way it looks. Nice and stirred up. And that lemon powder also has a nice kind of fresh lemony fragrance to it. Okay, and I also don't want the lemon powder to soak up too much of the oil, so I'm going to stop right there. And then in my recipe, I'll go ahead and make sure I tell you guys exactly how much lemon powder was used, so you can adjust it up or down if you like as well. Okay, and then to this, I'm going to go ahead and add my flavor oil. So I am actually using some lemon drop flavor oil. By the way, my flavor oils have come from Brambleberry and they're lip safe. So you want to make sure whatever you're using in your lip scrub is lip safe. So we are using lemon drop, and it smells gorgeous. It smells just like lemon drop candies. Smells so good. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in. And then to this, I'm going to be adding a tiny bit of peppermint essential oil. Really, really be careful. You do not want too much essential oil of peppermint in here because the lips are sensitive and you don't want the tingling to be too intense. but you want it to be noticeable. So that's going to give us a nice lemon mint flavor. And then of course the sugar is going to add sweetness. And the honey is going to help also draw moisture to the skin, to the lips. So these are just, again, very simple yet effective ingredients. Just make sure you're mixing really well to get that flavor oil nice and distributed. And then if you get to the end and you want to change the consistency, like if it's too wet, you can add more sugar. If it's too dry, you can add a little bit more oil. And to this one, I think we're good. I might just add a skosh more, just a tiny, tiny bit more of the sunflower oil. It's easy to overdo it, so if you're going to add in a little bit more, just make sure you're adding in, I'm telling you, like that much. Because this castor sugar has a much different consistency than regular granulated sugar, so I was finding when I was experimenting with these recipes that the castor sugar absorbs the oil differently, and if it gets too wet, it kind of just goes mushy versus the oil kind of floating on top with a bigger grain sugar. Okay, last thing we need to do is go ahead and package these up, and I'll be back to show you what I'm going to do. All right, so what I'm using to package these up are these cute little 1 ounce PET plastic containers that I got from Nature's Garden. And the first one I'm going to package up is the honey and white chocolate one. And it just has such a gorgeous yellow hue to it from that jojoba oil, and those little white chocolate speckles make it look extra cute. Okay, so what we're going to do, there's really no easy way to do this. So I'm going to use a little plastic spoon. Just make sure everything you use is very clean. I've washed out all of my containers with rubbing alcohol. If you go over the top of the container, you'll have an easier time not making any spills like I did just there. There you go. And I'm going to fill mine right to the top, just like that. All right, let's go ahead and fill up the rest. All right, everybody, they're all packaged up beautifully, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up, and then I'm going to give you a product demo. Okay, so I do have a little bit left here in my bowl, and I'm going to show you how it works. So I do think these are the perfect balance between kind of oil and sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit here on my finger. These are a little bit messy, so you might want to do it over the sink. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm only using about that much. I'm just going to spread it on, and then I find the easiest thing to do is just rub your lips together. Feels really good. The taste is really good, and you can just, with the baker's sugar, it just kind of melts down, and there's very little residue left over. You can just kind of wipe it down. And then the next one is the lemon and peppermint. Again, just a tiny bit. Go ahead and rub that on. Has a nice sweet lemony flavor with just a touch of peppermint. Perfect. And now your lips are ready for lip balm or lipstick, or even a lip mask if you'd like. All right, everybody, that concludes today's video on how to make Lush inspired lip scrubs. If you like this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment, question in the description box below. Subscribe to my channel and share this video with a friend. Keep shining. Catch you on the next video.